I've actually been wanting to wear this sweater, but we haven't had a sweater day in so long.
I was thinking today's a sweater day because I haven't worn this sweater in a while either. Wait, it's a very cute. Maya and I are wearing the sweaters that we got each other for our birthday. Like Priya and I got Maya that sweater, and then Maya and some of our other friends got me this sweater. Anyways, what I wanted to discuss was Maya ignoring my text.
Oh, I actually thought about that. I was thinking about that randomly during the day today.
That I later bumped and said, Maya, could you... So basically,
you bumped what?
Okay, so basically, I have a category of texts that I could send to both of you, but I sent to Priya because I know you're going to ignore. Mm-hmm. But then I realized, I was like, wait, the way Maya works is like, I just need to instruct her to respond to me.
Yeah.
Like, usually a text implies that, but like, it doesn't for you. So I sent it. You didn't respond, which I'd priced in. But what I hadn't priced in was then I replied to myself and said, Maya, can you respond? And then she still didn't respond.
Yeah, it was really awkward.
And then I was like, okay, like, I'll just kill myself.
Wait, what? I didn't even notice
yesterday.
Wait, this was all in the group chat?
Yeah.
But these were like separate. Like I like literally bumped it. So like you definitely saw one of
And then
two.
I think we had like another conversation. You were like responding perfectly
like,
normally.
You respond to every other conversation.
I honestly think it's because I'm a guy.
No, yeah, like I know that. But it's like even when I text a guy, like if I've never bumped someone on something and still gotten ignored, but then they respond to another thing. It was like a first. For me. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like you read it.
No, like I didn't read it. Like I actually don't know what you're talking about. To this
day, you still don't know. Okay, basically what I was trying to tell you is I like met like a friend and they're like in venture and they were saying how something that we'd covered they sent to the partner because the partner basically had a question that we answered.
Is that kind of crazy?
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah, but it was their portco. Like it was,
we were giving them information about their portfolio company.
What was the question?
Okay, we'll have to bleep this out because it makes it obvious. Okay. But like basically,
oh,
it's kind of crazy.
That is crazy. That's just how you know VCs are bots. Oh, sorry. Actually, no. Invest in me someday.
This weekend was also our Tech Week event.
Yeah, it was so fun.
And there were honestly more people than I thought would come.
Yeah. No, it's like A16Z's week where they do a ton of tech events. And so we did one with Composio and we were trying to go for a chill vibe. So it's like DJs. There's Cappy Club, which is like a coffee club pop-up. And they did like matcha, coffee. And they have really creative drinks.
Yeah. I actually had their pineapple tamarind drink and it was so good.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
I honestly had a really fun time. I was being a yapper.
Oh my God. Maya was being a social butterfly. And like, Maya's very like on or off.
Yeah.
And she was on. But the thing is, like before the event started, she was like very off. So I wasn't expecting the on when it came on.
The light bulb just like turned on. I didn't expect it for myself too. I was like,
maybe that is the crowd that would get you going.
Yeah. I think I honestly just like met a lot of girls in tech and I was just like, wow, like this is really refreshing. But yeah, okay, cool. Welcome back to Get the Check. I'm Maya.
I'm Anika.
I'm Priya.
And today we have some fun stories. So first we're going to start off with Figure 3, which is the latest humanoid robot launched by Figure, and it's designed for the home. It's pretty cool. The launch video shows like the robot like in the home doing dishes, which is kind of... and then finally we're going to go into OpenAI's most recent event, Dev, which is their Dev Day, and they announced their apps SDK, their agent kit, and they also announced their 10% stake in AMD, which made the stock pop 25%. It was a overall packed week, but I'm excited to get into it. We're going to start off with Figure 3, and they're going to be our Get the Check segment, and we wanted to put this as our first segment because we're just too excited.
We're so excited about Figure 03.
So would they get your guys' check?
1,000,
yeah,
1,000,000%. Like, I don't even care if it dies. Like, it's just such a cool thing.
It's so cool. Yeah, they also have insane investors. Like personally, there's like a bunch of individual investors like Jeff Bezos and who else? Like it was like Nvidia. It was like OpenAI, yeah.
Nvidia, Microsoft, Jeff Bezos. I think everyone's like literally the top of all categories is rallying together to put money into this startup because they're clearly the like front runner for humanoids.
Yeah. So Figure was founded back in 2022 by Brett Adcock, and he previously founded Archer Aviation, which we've talked about on this podcast before for their e-bottles.
E-bottles. They're just like flying cars,
yeah,
but actually helicopters, like a version of that.
Yeah, which honestly makes sense. Like flying cars to humanoids.
Yeah.
That like makes sense.
He loves a hardware problem. I didn't know this before I was like researching, but he actually bootstrapped the first 100 million into the company
from Archer Aviation. That's probably why he had the money.
Probably. Yeah. I think he just knew it was going to be such a hard problem. And I think it was 31 months for them to launch the first Figure robot. And everyone's like, oh, how'd you do it? And he's like, I literally bootstrapped the company and was like spending a fuck ton of money to just even get all these people. Cause he was like saying from the eVTOL phase, he like knew all the different categories that he had to hire right away.
That makes sense.
That makes sense.
And so he didn't want to spend time convincing people to put in the money. He just wanted to hire a team out right off the bat. But
their last funding round was in September and they raised over $1 billion. So now they're at like a $39 billion valuation, which I was talking to Priya and I was like, I feel like there's very few private companies worth that much that I've ever heard of.
And they're always this vibe. Like it's like SpaceX.
Yeah,
or
I was
like
literally
things
about
like
to say
that.
SpaceX, yeah. And they're basically, it's just like a human, but it's a robot.
Yeah. So quickly into their history of the things that they've launched. They first launched Figure 1 in 2023 and they label each of them. So this one was labeled Beginnings and it was basically just like a proof of concept. Like Maya was just saying, it was like bootstrap more or less. And they were trying to prove out that this could actually be a thing. Then there was Figure 02, which was focused on Figure in the workforce. And they've actually been running Figure in the workforce in the X3 body shop for BMW. And they announced that at the same time that they announced Figure 03, which was like kind of a power move for them. And it's been there for the last 5 months, working daily 10-hour shifts, basically just like lifting factory parts like back and forth. Kind of like what you would expect, I guess, out of a humanoid robot on a factory line.
Yeah, and then they recently announced Figure 03. Do you guys know the exact date that they announced it?
about a week ago.
Last week.
Yeah, sometime last week. And basically it's powered by Helix, which is their own proprietary AI system. And it allows the robot to make decisions and also is eventually going to allow people to just talk to their robot in order to tell it what to do. Because obviously it's a big bridge to go from like coding a robot to do something specific like washing dishes to literally having a human but in a robot form, which I would say like ChatGPT at this point does feel pretty human-like. Like obviously you can like always be like it's a little bit not, but like it's basically human-like for natural language, and this robot is supposed to be human-like for actions. So you should be able to be like, oh, go wash the dishes, and it's like, okay, I will. So that's kind of where the AI part of it, Helix, comes in.
Someone was asking the founder, like, why didn't you just use like an OpenAI model, or why can't LLMs be repurposed? And it's just a completely different system. Like, it doesn't know how to handle like literally like moving your hand.
Well, wasn't it based on OpenAI's model in the beginning?
It was. So there's two systems. There's the first system is the like low level control of like moving things, and then the second system is like the general directional planning. And I think the general directional planning is similar to like what we see, is like based off a model similar to like what we see in like chat, because you're like doing planning of like what you want to do, versus the dexterity part is like a completely different type of like reasoning. And they wanted these two systems to act like independently of each other and not make one model together. For example, like you might want to think like, I want to pick this thing up, and so then you're going to go pick it up, but like the process of like you moving your hand is very different from you planning the next move, if that makes sense. And so like when
it's kind of like how your brain connects to like the hand to move something.
And so that's why it's like two separate systems, and actually their models are like very small compared to like the ChatGPT LLM. Like their system 2, I believe, is like a 7 billion parameter model, and their system 1 is in like the millions. It's I don't know exactly, I have to like pull it up, which is quite a bit smaller than like trillions of parameters that we see today in OpenAI and Anthropic.
So Helix is that vision system, and like the improvements that they made when it came to this model in particular is that they have like a much wider camera angle, so they can actually capture way more, which is like super important in this situation. And they also have like lower latency, so like the time between what it sees and then actually doing an action is like way shorter now.
Yeah, and the camera problem's interesting because it's not enough to like have your eyes be cameras, because like I feel like as a human you can like move where your eyes are really quickly, but it was talking about like, oh, if it reaches into a cupboard, it needs a camera on its hand too. So they've been making those additions, and so they're basically trying to get it to model a human exactly. And the way that the founder explained it, Brett Adcock, is he was like, and we can talk about this more later, but like the world has already been built for humans. So like if you put a humanoid in your house, your dishes being in your cupboard and being like behind a door, that might not be most ideal for a robot, right? Like if we built the world for a robot, you'd probably not have doors on your cupboards and like everything would look different. It's like when people say the world has been built for right-handed people or for people that are normal height. Yeah, it's like the same thing. And so like they have to now kind of reverse engineer, like go in the other direction where the humanoid robot is like more built for our world.
Yeah. And the other, I was going to say, building on that, the cool thing about this model is that it's meant to be super generic, that like it can respond to things that it hasn't seen in training. So what they did is they showed this video of like the robots putting like groceries away, and they specifically gave items that the robot didn't see during training, and they wanted to see how they reacted to those items. And it did it perfectly fine. Like it put the groceries in like the pantry and the cupboard and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know if it categorized it right, but the idea is that like they wanted to make a model that is able to respond to situations it hasn't seen before, because every home is very different. So like the items in your home vary culture to culture, person to person. Like homes with disabilities where, you know, you have a blind person versus a deaf person, and they didn't want to have to train many hours of data based on all these different situations.
And it's like effectively impossible. Like you can't train it for every single situation, which is why like people have been working on the humanoid problem obviously for a really long time. Like having a robot that's a human is, the first time that was thought of was probably like a century ago or more. But the reason why people are bullish on it right now is because of AI. Like people see AI as the thing that will be able to unlock humanoids' power for that reason. And like at least like the founders of humanoid companies like Elon or Brett, they also say that they think conversely these humanoids are going to train AI models to be better and like help reach AGI, which I feel like everyone in a niche AI space kind of says. Like it's the same way like the agent startups say that like they think they'll hit AGI.
Yeah.
And like I have no idea, but like it's a clear instance of continual learning where it's like actually needs to do more and more things.
And I think like bringing AI to the physical world and like actual physical things is the next wave of what people are working on.
I don't know like how well Figure 3 is. Like they don't ever do any live demos. So like my one concern is that a lot of this isn't super real. Like I don't know.
Well, Brett has one in his house.
That's what he said.
Really? I didn't know
because they did like the time feature on him, and like it was basically him talking about how he like has one in his house, and he was like, I have little kids and I trust it.
Well, so I think that kind of brings us to the use case for Figure 3 as well. So the second figure, they were talking a lot about commercial applications. Like you said, they put it in the BMW factories, and it is in the BMW factory. So it's like that's a live demo in a way. But now they talk a lot about house use cases. Like I was actually surprised how focused they are. Like every example they give, it's like not every example, but a lot of them. It's like putting away groceries, other things for the house. And while they're still pursuing a commercial use case, they also seem to think that a big way these humanoids are going to scale is by becoming normal for everyone to have one in their house.
And on that scalability factor with Figure 3, something that they prioritized was like the ability to build and ship these things fast. Their manufacturing facility can now build and ship 12,000 a year, and they're trying to scale to 100,000 a year. And they also changed, I don't know exactly what it is that they changed about the robot, but the idea is that the materials are 90% cheaper and they're softer, so they're like more pliable, so they can be in the house. Like you don't want hard metal around kids, so they made sure that like when you're moving the arm, it doesn't pinch you, because that's like that would be really bad for like little kids. So they like built a lot of it in mind where like, you can actually put this in your home and like it's not going to hurt you. And it's also at a price point that's cheap enough. So the founder, Brett, said that they want to sell anywhere between $20,000 and $30,000, but their previous model, Figure 2, was around the $90,000 to $100,000 mark.
And there were like 3 guiding principles for like making it both scalable, but also like being able to be in the home. And it was basically it being extremely durable, having long-term reliability, and having high fidelity sensing, because something that's really important, and I think we touched on this earlier, is like the dexterity and like the sensing of the actual hand itself. And so like your fingertip needs to be able to like differentiate between different things that are put on it, or even when you're like placing something down.
Like for example, now it can pick up like a card off of a deck of cards. that's like something very easy for a human, right? Like if you think about a human going from a baby to like a full grown adult, like every human from a pretty young age can pick up a singular card, and that's like a very easy problem for us to solve. That's a harder problem for these robots to solve, but then an easier problem for them to solve is like getting very quick. So they're already like way faster than humans at like picking things up, putting things down, and they'll only get faster.
Yeah, because their processing speed is just
Imagine like you go to Vegas and like all your dealers are just like robots.
Oh my God.
That's
Wait,
crazy.
that would definitely be
That would be
like a
crazy.
Silicon Valley party, because like
Yeah.
they all love poker.
Wait,
Yeah.
for sure.
was
Maya's
also-
birthday party, but it's humanoids.
Oh my god.
It'd be crazy too, because like if you ever have a question, you can just ask the humanoid, because it has natural language processing, and I feel like that is part of why they pivoted. I don't want to say pivoted, but like have directed more use cases towards the home, because in a factory you don't really need a robot to have natural language processing, and a lot of people argue you can have like more specialized robots as well.
Yeah. Like a humanoid is overkill in a factory.
Yeah, because it's like
'Cause,
working on such a specific
task.
It's like, because for like a long time ago during industrialization, we changed factories to be an assembly chain, right? Where
Yeah.
like one person does one thing.
Yeah, well, I think the other thing is, for example, like when you're sorting grapes in a wine facility versus you have like a robot that does the grape sorting, like the current like wine robots or whatever, I know it because I saw it, like they can sort it at like nanoseconds, or maybe not nanoseconds, but like milliseconds, like faster
Like
than.
when you were in Napa, there were robots.
Yeah, so we went to this one winery where like they show us like all their like production chain and stuff like that. And so there's this thing that like the grapes go through this like visual scanner, and then there's like these little like almost like pinball machine things that like swipe away the bad grapes essentially.
Yeah.
But they're moving so
and they're able
fast.
to. How wait? Do they have like so they can like see?
Yeah. Well, it's not like it's not a humanoid. It's just
Yeah,
like it's just like it's literally just like a machine, right? And in that sense, like that machine is going to be so much more effective at sorting grapes than a humanoid would be, right? It's going to be like this. So like I get why in manufacturing facilities you actually don't really want humanoids except for like very, very specific tasks that's like requires a lot of dexterity, and I don't even know humanoids are there. So I think the like figure 2 being in a BMW facility, I don't know how useful it is, but I think it's just trying to show that it can match human capabilities to some extent.
Well, it is interesting because we'll get to it, but like Tesla's Optimus, that's also where they're planning to deploy it first too, is like Tesla manufacturing. Like they both pick car manufacturers.
Because assembling a car is very, very intense versus like assembling like other normal products is pretty easy. Like I think there is some parts that humans do, right? Because
Yeah.
they haven't been able to build robots for it. Like there's no
Everything else is already automated.
Yeah,
away.
yeah. There's a lot of manufacturing facilities where there's like very little human intervention. So
Yeah,
you,
there's actually a lot of humans, because I've been to the Tesla factory. and
Yeah.
there's like a lot of humans.
so it makes
That makes sense.
But yeah, I guess like it makes sense why they're there. But my question is like, how big is the humanoid in manufacturing market? It's probably not that big.
I agree. I think like humanoid in the home is probably bigger.
Yeah.
Or like actually no, I think like humanoid in the service industry. But like I guess it's not like the home. But
Yeah.
I guess like humanoid in the service industry
yeah,
is probably what I would
agree.
put as like the highest.
Yeah, yeah.
I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
that take makes sense. But we also want to cover the issues with it, because I would say honestly general market sentiment is pretty bearish outside of the tech bubble.
Yeah.
I feel like just like my read of the situation
Yeah.
is I feel like a lot of the finance world or even the media world
Yeah.
is like not that sold on it.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. I mean, like, yeah, that's how a lot of innovative technologies work, but we can talk about some of the reasons why that is.
Yeah, I think the first one is just that people don't think that there's enough data for it, because there's like only so much that can be covered through simulations. Like obviously you can use AI to help like assist you with like these situations, but there isn't enough actual real world data to train it on, because like for example LLMs, you have the entire internet, you have all of these sources that you can like ingest and basically train these models for basically everything that you need. But for like a humanoid, you don't have a bunch of people folding clothes or a bunch of people doing the dishes, and so you need that data. And so right now people are like, there's just not enough data out there.
Yeah, and the way they do, like, they don't actually put sensors on people and try to record data. They actually just use video footage
yeah.
of people doing things to get that data. And the only way to farm that video footage is to actually schedule like live recordings of people doing
Priya wants
things.
to sign up.
I'm down. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if like one day you can use all the ASMR video TikToks to do it.
But they're not doing things, are they?
Like there are like some like wider shots of like people like putting away stuff.
I'm sure those are the videos they've used, right? Is like YouTube videos.
Are you allowed to? I don't think you're allowed to train on that.
They said they
Really?
only
Isn't
used
it the public internet.
No, but like there's like, isn't that the whole thing that happened with like someone else got into this?
I think they've like taken a lot of footage themselves. They also said that they only used 500 hours,
I think
Yeah.
which is
you
not a
can
lot
use
of.
YouTube, right? Like, couldn't you not use Google if you can't use YouTube?
I'm not sure on the legality.
Oh.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that it's
They only use
protected.
500 hours?
Yeah, which is that's what's also really impressive is only 500 hours created Helix.
Why?
They probably just don't have more.
But
Or-
500 hours is like 10 weeks. Like, you could just like pay people in the Philippines and easily get more than 500 hours.
I mean, they are working on it because like I've seen a lot of posts of people being like, please record like yourself, like so we can like pay you money
That
for
doesn't
it.
make sense though. Like, billions of dollars later, you can.
I tried to get into the weeds of this, of like why 500 hours. Was it that's only what they needed, or if they needed more? It's very unclear.
Brett, if you want to come on the podcast and clarify, I've already cold emailed 3 of your potential emails.
I also think like
He
they.
says he loves a good cold email.
Oh, that's great. Well, I was
But
gonna
whenever
say.
people say that and I cold email them, they don't respond to me.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
But I was gonna say like obviously the videos that they've recorded are really impressive, but we don't know the failure rate. Like this could be a Theranos situation. We don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
Like,
well, it's not a Theranos situation if it's like already in a BMW factory.
but that's just like the BMW factory.
I mean, it's like pretty easy. I would say like the BMW factory example, like it's pretty easy to train something to do the same thing over and over again.
Like my point is like the household robot, we actually don't know how effective.
Okay, sure.
Because he won't do a live demo.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't, like, to me, I don't see it as a Theranos issue. I just see it as like a tech breakthrough issue. Like, I agree the tech might not be there yet, but I wouldn't compare it to Theranos. But yeah.
Like my only point is like the 500 hours of video footage could be not effective, and we just haven't seen the
Yeah, I
failures.
see what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
maybe it's not enough.
Yeah.
No, like,
It's probably not enough.
We can move on, but like, my question was more like, it's hard for me to believe that they couldn't get more than that.
They probably could if they want. I mean, everything's like a trade-off.
Yeah, but 500, if you just think about how much 500 hours is, that's like 5 weeks of a banker's work week. Like, that's nothing. You just get 5 people over one
But
week.
like,
I don't know. They have many problems to solve. They have to solve the manufacturing facility problem. They actually have to solve.
well, they built a
building
new
it.
factory,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I mean, what I'm saying is like in the 12-month span to release Figure 3,
Yeah.
which by the way, they say they release a new robot every 12 months. Now they're releasing Figure 4 in like 12 months. They have to figure out like they
so many
Oh my
problems.
God,
so
it
many
has the same
problems, yeah.
anniversary as us. Every additional get the check here, there'll be a new humanoid.
maybe yeah.
Until
true.
one day we'll be able to interview one live on the pod. Anyways, some of their other issues are safety. So like there's this one guy who's a general partner at VC company called Cybernetics Ventures, and he co-founded Mass Robotics, which was an old robotics company. And he's like one of the people in tech that's bearish on it. And one of his examples is like, okay, if you have it in the house, it could get hacked, it could fall on your pet, it could fall on your kid. I guess it could get hacked, and it does seem like it getting hacked would be worse than it getting hacked than your computer or phone getting hacked, which are kind of the only other electronics in a house.
Yeah, because it could kill you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or like I guess your smart home can get hacked, but like
But it can't kill you.
Companion
Yeah.
vibes. If you've ever watched the movie Companion, they literally play out this scenario.
Yeah.
Or the Megan Fox one. Basically any humanoid movie.
But it getting hacked or falling on you and stuff. Well, I guess falling on you, I think they'll just show over time that it's like safer than a human doing things.
Yeah, the falling on you thing actually has to do like more with like the battery life of it. Because you have to figure out the battery life where like when it dies, it doesn't fall.
That makes sense.
But then I think like they said that they figured it out.
Yeah, it's basically like already wireless, and it just steps on a charging pad and it already knows its own schedule. So like you don't even need to charge it or worry. But the hacking thing, like it's not any worse than if Waymo got hacked.
Yeah.
But it's probably that Waymo has put a lot of effort into preventing like
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean,
Entry points, yeah.
Before you go B2C, which like Waymo is B2C, even if it's like
You have to spend a lot of time spending
of course,
closing
but, like,
that gap. But I think they probably could.
But like I guess what I'm trying to say is like in the house, I see how a humanoid robot would be the most dangerous thing to get hacked. But in our world, we already have equivalently dangerous things.
I agree.
Yeah. Like it's a solvable problem, is what you're saying.
That and like no one gives a fuck. Like I've never heard of someone bringing up a Waymo getting hacked as a fear of theirs outside of like niche situations where we're like studying it.
Yeah.
It's not stopping anyone from getting in a Waymo.
I do think it would stop people from getting a humanoid though.
But see, that's my question. Like to me, if I'm willing to get in a Waymo, assuming Figure reaches like the same level of brand recognition, agree it's not there yet. Like I would put those fear levels at the same level.
Yeah, I also don't care, but I see why you would care.
It's the movie thing.
I think it's like, yeah, I think it is like honestly like media and the form factor of it like being a person in your house that's like living with you. Because it's kind of like a stranger living in your house. Like obviously it's not.
No, I get that.
But it's just like the fear factor of it.
I get that, but we all agree that like if an actor actually wanted to commit harm, they'd hack Waymos before a humanoid, right? Unless it's a personal attack on someone.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just logical people, so like we're not scared of it.
Okay, subtle flex. Hopefully that ages well.
Next thing you know, we die tomorrow, because not tomorrow, but next year, because we got a humanoid and it killed us. Foretelling the future.
Oh God. Yeah.
So yeah, there's a bunch of competitors, not as good as them, I will say. So first we've talked about Tesla Optimus. They're well funded, obviously, because of Elon, but they are nowhere near the results that Figure 3 have made, or they've done a lot of gimmicks basically to kind of show that they're somewhere, but I don't really believe them.
Yeah, so Optimus was announced in 2021, which isn't really that long ago. It's only 4 years. They said it would be introduced in 2023, but then it wasn't, which is like classic Elon. And then in 2024, Tesla had this event where they like were trying to show it, I think live. Mm-hmm. But then it turns out like humans were controlling it behind the scenes or something, and they got a bunch of bad press about it. And so it's TBD what the timeline will be, but they say they'll start selling them in 2026.
I definitely don't think they'll do that.
Yeah, what's the call sheet market on that one?
I don't know. We should check.
There's definitely one.
I'm sure there is. And then for Boston Dynamics, I feel like they have a lot of different types of robots. Like, for example, they have like a 4-legged dog-like robot called Spot Mini. And then they have
That's the one I always see.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
Yeah. Like, I feel like I've seen those types of robots from them more than like a true humanoid form.
Yeah.
I also feel like they're very like scientific research lab.
Say,
yeah. And then finally there's Unitree, which is a Chinese-based humanoid company, and they're focused on like really athletic robots. So they're super flexible. They do boxing.
There's like the underground fight club in SF that people
not underground.
Yeah, like, or it's like
yeah, but they're not super useful, I would say. They're not like, at least they're not meant for like home deployment yet.
They are really cheap. They're like $6,000.
Yeah.
And comparing that to the Figure robots are expected to sell at around 20,000.
Yeah. 20 to 30, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would rather have a useful robot than just a robot. Actually, I was thinking about this.
They're preparing to IPO.
Would you buy a Figure 3 robot?
If it worked,
For my 800 square foot apartment?
No, not at $20,000. Like, I feel like my parents would buy one.
No, I was thinking about that. I was like, for sure my parents would buy one, but like, would I buy one? Would it be worth?
I feel like you need enough space to warrant having a humanoid.
Okay, a cleaner is like $2,000 to $3,000 a year. So like,
not in San Francisco, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, because all it does is clean and it does your laundry. So I guess like the cost on it doing your laundry and cleaning is definitely cheaper than $20,000, especially because you're going to want to get the newest model in 2 years.
Wait, I don't think so. The Figure humanoid is more expensive than like what a suburban family pays a cleaner in a year, but it's not even close to the price of like how much work a mom and dad are putting in.
Yeah. Well, I think if you had a human doing what the humanoid could do, it would be more expensive to pay the human.
Way more expensive. Like it's probably $100,000 a year, right?
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So I feel like I feel like all of our parents would get one for 20K.
Yeah.
No. I was not saying about that. I was saying about for us.
Oh yeah, I just don't have 20K to spend on a robot.
I just don't have the space.
Yeah, also that.
But I was
mean,
gonna
literally our pod lights are taking up our last amount of space.
No, I know.
Apartment.
It's really down
there
bad
would
in our
be
apartment
no
right
for
now.
the
We have like
robot.
no living room.
Yeah, I mean we could deconstruct them every time.
We're not going to do that. Yeah.
That sounds worse. We don't have a humanoid to
I was
reconstruct.
trying to
them.
think because you have like even your like laundry closet is
Yeah, we have
super
no space.
Yeah.
We literally have no closet.
Oh, I have accepted it and moved on.
Yeah, me too. It's okay. We don't need to use our living room. It's fine.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
the last big question is what happens next?
Yeah, and like one of the things in their example of like their launch was basically a hotel check-in, and it was like a person behind the counter being like checking this person in, and that like made me think about the service industry just as a whole, because I feel like it would be so beneficial.
But I just don't get why you don't have like an iPad at check-in and just let the like.
Well, they do. I mean,
So,
like a lot of places
I was
do.
actually talking to Priya about this because I was staying at the Public like a couple weeks ago, and it was the first time that I've been to a hotel check-in that didn't have a human, because it was all like an iPad. And then she was like, "That's how I've already."
Yeah, in
seen
Vegas,
that.
I've been to hotels in Vegas. There's another place I've been to too.
Yeah.
It was like so easy.
I just like
was
don't know.
"Thank God."
There's a lot of places where I'm like, I just don't know you in the services industry where I'm like, I don't think you need even a humanoid for a lot of these things.
I think like a server,
Yeah, that's what I was
like
gonna say, too.
restaurants.
Restaurant servers, yeah.
But half of global GDP is human labor, which makes sense. It could be anything. It could be like
Cooks.
beauty services,
Like the in and out
cooks.
cooks,
Yeah,
like
cooks
like
for
not at like
sure.
high end restaurants maybe, but at
Yeah.
like I actually think the super high end industries are all protected from this, because in general I don't think people want to interact with people. We've talked about this on a different episode before.
Yeah.
But I think that like the middle is completely
like your Kavas
automated.
and Sweetgreens of the
Totally.
world. Well, Sweetgreen
They've
is actually
done that.
already
Yeah,
trying to go
they've already
after
started doing that.
No. I'm saying like we're a humanoid. So like in the Sweetgreen world, like you could totally automate it with like a normal
Robot,
machine,
yeah, which they've
robot.
already done.
Yeah, which they've already done. So then, what's the step where you get a humanoid but you don't automate it? It's probably like a mom and pop shop that's trying to make like your
all of construction, a lot of healthcare.
Yeah, I was just saying like restaurants. I guess like any like family owned business maybe would use a humanoid instead of like a machine, because unless you have like a very platform play like ordering system type of machines, like Toast gets really big or whatever, like you can't really like you said, you can't really automate line cooks for like mom and pop restaurants. But if it becomes like fast food, fast food won't be the buyers. Like I'm trying to think who would be the buyers, and it would be like the small businesses, not the aggregated fast food chains.
Why not?
I think like In and Out would.
Like you dunk fries, you fry them, you take them out, you like
Because there's like
you can assemble a hamburger.
You can just make a machine that's like useful for like that specific type of order.
I think assembling a machine assembling a hamburger seems hard, right? Like you need someone to reach into different places and like have the dexterity to like grab lettuce
And not like crush the hamburger.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like that's not an easy problem.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
Like I think a lot of
like Sweetgreen could be easier than like a hamburger. I could see
Yeah.
that. Yeah, like bowl based products.
well, the entire process of getting restaurants to be automated by robots that aren't humans has gone really badly. From my understanding of it, like there used to be a burger place that was like all a robot doing it in SF, and it like shut down and had like no customers and like generally not worked.
Yeah.
Like it needs the dexterity of a human.
Yeah. Okay, I'm convinced.
But estimates, like for example, Citi did an estimate that there will be 650 million humanoids among us by 2050. So
Oh my God. Our kids are going to grow up in a world just surrounded by humanoids.
maybe.
I'm okay with that.
No, yeah, me too.
I don't know if maybe.
Like what does it matter?
2050, we'll be so old. Our kids will be old.
Yeah, but 650 million in a world that'll have like 10 billion people is like still far from ratioed. But yeah.
Sure, but like also like that amount of humanoids is going to be in the places that we live.
I also think you can't predict 2050. So
Moving on.
Yeah. Should we
The last thing that I think is interesting is like the UBI conversation, because it's like the conversation that always comes up, and people are basically like there's either like two ways that it goes, like humanoids take all the jobs and then you have to provide like universal basic income, or like the humanoids and like the tech monopoly just like all coincides, and there's just this like lower class.
I think you have to do something in that situation.
Yeah.
Like, do you think like UBI is possible?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's definitely possible.
Well, obviously it's possible, but
It's-
like, do you think it's like an actually like probable situation in our world, given like that humanoids work out?
Welfare isn't that far from UBI, realistically. It's just like inefficient and also very political. But like political will probably change based on where the average person is.
I think it just depends, like, how smart the models get. Like, I think right now, let's say you replaced all, like, cleaning or labor for humanoids. I still don't think you hit UBI. I think you just, like, learn higher base skills. I think you're forced to learn more skills. Like, more and more people go to college every year. You just, like, learn, like, people are just, like, I think, okay, well, maybe this is, like, a crazy take, but I think people's intelligence is also a factor of, like, how hard they want to try. And I think if you're forced between homelessness or, like, learning the skill, the next lowest skill after, like, being a cashier, you would choose that.
Possibly, but I think there'll be like less jobs also in combination with all of this.
I think you always make more, like, I think it's just, like, you climb up, like, the, like, ladder, but there's, like, the ladder gets longer, you know?
I think it's too early to tell because it's like humanoids would be replacing service industry jobs, but AI is replacing white collar jobs, and AI is arguably getting better a lot faster than humanoids. Like, humanoids are way further from reality than AI.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know, but I feel like Andrew Yang ran on a UBI platform a while ago, and he was pretty popular. And I could see something like that, but it's really just hard to tell.
Yeah.
Cool. Next.
Yeah, OpenAI Dev Day was last week. I don't remember what day it was, but they announced a bunch of different things. So in the morning, they announced an AMD deal, and that was actually like separate from OpenAI Dev Day, but it happened to be like the same day.
We're grouping it in.
So we're grouping it in. So we'll get into that. But then outside of that, they announced a bunch of things. They announced like a Sora 2 API. They announced an apps SDK, as well as like apps within ChatGPT. They announced Agent Kit, some other APIs as well in ChatGPT 5 Pro, I think. So there were a bunch of announcements. We're not going to go over all of them today, but we're going to start with the AMD deal, which is basically that OpenAI will deploy 6 gigawatts of AMD GPUs over the next 5 years, with the first one starting in H2 of 2026, but noting that all of this is dependent on AMD actually delivering on this chip. That is a very TBD in my opinion.
Yeah. But it's just like signaling that like OpenAI is not just partnering with NVIDIA, but partnering with more people in the space. AMD has always been the number 2 player here. By a long shot, yeah. But
well,
now,
they didn't used to be, but now, yeah.
From what I know, it's that they were always 2 to 3 years behind NVIDIA. And they just didn't price they didn't price in the explosion of GPUs fast enough.
Yeah.
Is what I understand.
Well,
And so
regardless of technology, like in 2022, they did have the same revenue. So they were basically the same size, even if NVIDIA was like more technologically advanced, and then NVIDIA has just crushed them.
yeah.
I also don't think NVIDIA was like that technologically advanced, because I remember I had to research this for something once, and the answer was NVIDIA, but it was like an open question that I had to get into the weeds of, like actually looking at like specific chips and like the different types of chips.
It might have just been the limelight also not being on NVIDIA at that point. But yeah, the point still stands that like NVIDIA caught the GPU wave pretty aggressively really fast, and hardware moves slow. So if you don't know what you're building in the next 2 years, you're not going to have it. And so you need to predict what the needs are going to be and then plan for that. And so AMD is finally caught up and has a stack that is similar in nature to NVIDIA. And as we know, everyone wants NVIDIA's GPUs. And so if AMD can be the supplier of it, people are going to want to use it. And OpenAI clearly needs more supply. I mean, they keep trying to scale with compute as their user base scales. So in exchange, AMD will allow OpenAI to also purchase up to 160 million shares, which is 10% of AMD's outstanding shares. So they can own 10% of AMD, which is
and there's like a strike price, right? Like it was like
it's 1 cent.
1 cent per share.
It's 1 cent per share.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then people started talking about the AI bubble again.
Yeah, the AI flywheel is back. Because it's like they're giving them all of this money, but they're making way more money from their stake.
It's
anyway,
just the same as the OpenAI NVIDIA deal, where it's like they paid for it in equity.
But it's like the
in
opposite.
the reverse way.
It's in the opposite, yeah.
AMD is up 24% on the news. Congrats, Maya. Close to all-time highs. And I literally texted our group chat 3 weeks ago, and I was like, why is AMD not higher?
So for context, my mom used to work at Xilinx, and Xilinx got bought by AMD. So like our family generally has like a good amount of shares in AMD.
Maya just said it's not just congrats to me, it's generational wealth.
And my mom was like texting me and she was like, oh my God, it popped. And I was like, oh yeah, like I feel like I could see this coming. And then she was like, why? And I was like, well, NVIDIA has always been running out of GPUs. Like it was only time that like a big player would finally recognize AMD for it.
Yeah, and that's what Tim Altman said too. He was like, the whole industry needs to come together and OpenAI needs compute. Because people, I think I actually was surprised. I wasn't surprised by the AMD pop, but I was surprised by OpenAI doing such a public partnership with AMD right after announcing such a public partnership with NVIDIA.
Compute demand is only rising. And like NVIDIA can't be the only player. I always saw AMD, but now I can say it.
All the companies that even got mentioned by name in Dev Day, like I think Figma got
Oh my God,
mentioned.
yeah. Figma was up so much.
The portfolio did really well.
Well, my Figma was down a lot, so it was up, but it's not actually up.
Yeah, mine's down too.
Oh, really?
Well, we just didn't get allocated the millions of shares you got.
Okay, it was 14 shares.
That's crazy. Being allocated 14 shares is crazy.
Yeah, it was fun. Okay, cool. So that was one part of Dev Day. The second part of Dev Day is that they released Apps SDK and the App Store within ChatGPT. So basically, like you can now use chat to open an app within chat itself, which is like so interesting.
Have you guys done it?
I haven't done it yet.
I've looked at you do it.
No, you didn't.
Didn't you have like a video on tagging Zillow?
Yeah.
They also have Apps SDK where anyone can use the SDK to develop their own ChatGPT native apps. And this is really interesting because they're basically just trying to make chat a lot more powerful, but also be kind of like your home screen in a sense for your iPhone.
Operating system.
Your operating system, yeah. And so like instead of just like going straight to your search bar on Apple or going through your apps, you open up the ChatGPT app and that opens you to a whole new world of things that you can do.
I'm curious. So like basically you can either tag like at Zillow, show me XYZ, or if you say like I need a house in the marina, it might like just pop up Zillow on its own. And my question is like how useful you guys think this feature will be. I think my perspective is I think certain things will be super useful. Like I would totally use it for Zillow because like one, you can just put whatever filters you wanted in natural language and like you can probably like ask follow-up questions. Or like I saw another example was like using it with Coursera. Like something I already do in ChatGPT is if I'm reading like a pretty technical article on like AI for the podcast, since like that isn't what I studied in college, I'll put like a part of the article in ChatGPT and be like, explain this to me.
Yeah.
And it's helpful to like get a secondary opinion that the way I'm interpreting it is correct.
Yeah.
So like I could totally see it used for Coursera or something, but like for some of the like builder tools, like even Canva, I would just never use that in ChatGPT personally.
But like I think you kind of would. Like it's basically what like V0 is. Like it's like you prompt something in natural language and then it like prototypes it.
I guess
or like builds it for you.
I don't use V0. Like I basically don't really build anything using AI. Don't you think like if you were to prompt Canva in ChatGPT right now, it'd be like super ugly and not what you want at all?
Yeah, but I think the point is that like it gets better over time. Like they need to see usage patterns. So I think what they're trying to see is like it's like a version of process mining. Like what do users need to do? How do they need to do it? Why do they need to do it? What way do they want it? Because they'll see all the queries that come out and then they'll start optimizing for that queries. Like the reason why people believe Apple can get back into the AI race if they truly wanted to is because they just have a really large data moat. Like they just see all the usages, and what chat is trying to do is get access to that data as well.
Yeah.
And I think like part of like it's kind of like a chicken and egg problem. Like it's not going to be useful, but then over time if people like really try and experiment with it, they'll start to see like what people really want. But
yeah. And I do think this move to the platform is smart because it's like a unique approach that other players I would say aren't taking right now. Like I would say Google is integrating AI into the products that they currently have. Like they have search and then they'll have like Gemini do like at the top of search, like some sort of summary, but it still very much feels like the traditional experience of Google search, I would say.
Yeah, I actually have a point on this.
Yeah, go for it.
I was going to say like what I've read, at least from like AI researcher blogs, is that hill climbing on like resources, so like adding more data and adding more compute is not generating better outcomes anymore. And so now you're starting to see these like major players pick a lane that they want to play in. And so like you see Anthropic really play in the coding space and want to dominate like the future of software development as a whole. And you're going to see OpenAI play in the consumer space and go after Apple. We're going to start to see a shift in the next year that it's not OpenAI competing with Anthropic. It's OpenAI competing with Apple.
Yeah, and I guess like the apps like need to buy into the idea. Like I feel like all the early apps that have, and like there's a bunch more that they have that announced are like going to come later in the year, but OpenAI, one, knows that they can't compete with like existing people. So like Spotify, for example, like you're not going to build Spotify. You're not going to do that. But then two, like you also like can open up this world of like new apps, which is like what their agent SDK is going to do, of like apps that we probably haven't even like thought of right now or imagined like what it would be like. But they're just consolidating all consumers to that. Cause like they also announced they have 800 million weekly active users now, which is like insane. And so with that reach, they can do a lot.
And I feel like the other part of this story is monetization. So like we know that they've started to go after ads a little bit, but they will start increasing that over time. And part of it is going to be, I think, attribution to the app. Let's say all your users are using Spotify through chat, like they're launching Spotify through chat. Then they can go to chat and be like, we're going to turn off your connection unless you pay this much amount of money.
Yeah.
And so what I feel like we'll start to see is like a new type of monetization that we didn't really see with Google. I mean, I actually have no idea because like Apple didn't really, actually I don't know about this take. Never mind. Ignore
Apple
me.
didn't do what?
Like doesn't charge people
like
to have apps.
Yeah, like Apple doesn't charge Spotify to be on their platform.
Okay, I don't know the exact laws, but I feel like you start to get into anti-competitive territory when like you limit people from using your platform and your platform is that big. But I think what you can do is be like, when someone asks for music, like we choose if we recommend them to Spotify or Apple. We choose if we recommend them to Zillow or eBay. Like
that makes sense.
And then you start, it's like the same way people pay Google, people pay Apple.
And
like
that's when you start bidding on words, for example,
like
similar to Google.
I work at a startup and like obviously we pay Google for like ranking, we pay Apple for like it's the same way your company. It's like basically every company pays Google and Apple.
Yeah, and this isn't like a new thing either. Like they've kind of always like tried to look into this space because they previously had a GPT store in January of 2024 where basically anyone could like create and publish custom GPT. So it's like a little different, but they were going after like App Store for AI. And so I feel like it's always something that they've been interested in. Even before that, in like March of 2023, they had like plugins. And so I think they like the idea of like everyone coming to them as like the base platform layer. That's like the underlying thing I get from them.
Do you guys ever use any of those?
The previous?
Like the GPT?
No.
Yeah,
well, they were like major like failures.
Yeah.
Basically, I feel like what they learned is like the side tab in chat is not helpful.
I feel like they forget things they launch. Like they kind of launch them in phases.
Well, they just launch a ton of things and see what works.
Yeah, I mean, their strategy is just spray and pray.
Yeah.
And what's so interesting to me though is that strategy, which we're going to about to talk about next, with Agent Kit, this like spray and pray strategy kind of shows like there'll be a lot of startups that'll be adjacent to the products that they launch, and then it like actually just shows whether or not the startup has like product market fit because now you have like a whole platform that you just launched this thing on, and then like when it doesn't work, you're like it wasn't a product ever worth investing in the first place. But that might be like a very mean take, but
yeah. And them, like by them owning the entire full stack of everything, like they literally own like the base model that you're using for all of this. They like do the orchestration of everything, and like now they're building upon that for like all the way up to the developer level of like how do you develop things for the platform they're building that's powered by like the model they're using. And so it's all like so interconnected. And I think I saw this online, and like the thing that's interesting is like they are basically trying to tell us how AI should feel like when we use it, which is like the same way that Apple told us like how it should feel to use phones and like iPhones. Like they basically like defined what a smartphone meant. And in that same way, like OpenAI has the ability to define what it means for consumers to interact with AI. And they're like definitely in a position of power in that way.
yeah, cool.
Should we move on to Agent Kit?
Yeah, so Agent Kit is basically this visual tool that allows you to like
build agents, and you essentially what you're doing is just building workflows. So you can add memory, you can add prompts, you can connect to different tools or integrations, and so you can build specific agents for things that you do on a daily basis. Let's say just like a classic sales narrative, where you want to pitch these types of companies in this type of vertical, and the agent basically does a query on search and asks for XYZ companies that have posted an article about this topic in the last day, puts it into a spreadsheet, it sends an email. That is like a whole workflow, and people have a bunch of tools that have gone after this workflow, and basically OpenAI just kind of like copied and did it. But the idea is like it's like a no-code platform for you to build your own agents. So now you go from building your own GPTs that like use like the knowledge base or the like tone and style that you care about to actually building entire workflows for yourself. So you become like the operator of your own life. But yeah,
I thought that people said that their demo involved a lot of coding, and it seemed like it was for developers.
It's not a lot of coding. Like
it's
there's
like a hybrid
logic. Yeah. Like I would say it's not really coding. It's more like logic.
I think if you wanted to teach it to yourself, you could without any previous coding knowledge.
I see.
Yeah.
And then the big question that everyone's been asking is what this means for different agent startups. That's something we've covered previously. Like we talked to Amir about his startup Sim Studio, but then there's a bunch of other ones too. Like NAN, Zapier is considered one of them, Lindy. Zapier is like a general workflow tool, but like they've gone into agents.
Retool.
I mean, everyone's gone into agents.
Yeah. And like what it means for them. They all like released these statements that were like, welcome to the club.
Yeah. Like in my opinion, a lot of these competitors probably have deeper integrations, more of it, like
More
just
like
like more
model
features,
flexibility.
yeah, more flexibility.
Like I feel like the model flexibility thing is like a big one, right? Or do you think companies don't care?
Maybe.
It depends.
Yeah.
I don't know. Your consumer does not care about model flexibility, but your developer
Oh
does.
yeah, I agree.
So like if they're
yeah.
building Agent Kit strictly for consumers, they're not going to care about model flexibility.
Consumers are likely to use OpenAI because ChatGPT is already so sticky, and they're thinking less about which model they use versus developers are like constantly using the more advanced model, especially in like a job. And so they might prefer like NAN or something that gives you model flexibility.
Yeah, but I feel like once you build a workflow, like you're not going to change that workflow unless like the increment in like different models isn't that big unless there's like a huge release.
It's also still pretty hard to get these to work, in my personal opinion.
Why?
Well, you just need a ton of integrations. Like the way that this works is like it's integrated to every app, and every app needs an MCP server.
Like every time I've tried to build an agent, it doesn't really work.
Like I think at the end of the day, like there's not a lot of examples and there's not a lot of connectors.
I just don't think,
I think it works in an enterprise situation. I think like consumer, I'm still not like confident about.
Like what you need an agent for.
Yeah. But I think like from an enterprise perspective, like everyone uses agents.
But like to do what?
Like any workflow that you need.
I don't think most companies are using agents that widely, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. But in terms of agents I would use for my own life, a lot of it has to do with like phases I'm in. So if I'm in a recruiting phase or in a house searching phase, like I was in a house searching phase, I would have liked an agent that like told me all the newest Craigslist ads and like filtered for the ones that I probably would like.
Yeah, but it's like clearly not that easy to like. Why, if it's so easy for an enterprise to build an agent, can Maya not just like easily build a?
I think it's the data.
Anyways.
Because like in an enterprise, like everything's already connected.
Yeah, but it's like for a consumer, if they're looking for an apartment, it's not that hard to be like, I want a 2-bed, 2-bath in the marina. I'm also fine with like it takes like 6 questions. I don't know. It doesn't all add up to me.
We'll see if it's.
I could see Agent Kit like not working at all.
Yeah.
Like I could totally see. Like I actually think the competitors like. I don't think they just like killed all their competitors. Like I think there's other things.
I don't think so either. And the reason why I don't think so is like once agents actually take off, that's such a big market that I think multiple competitors have space to play in it. And like you can pick different niches. Like someone's going to go into like eventually once the tech is super advanced, someone will do like drag and drop logic, right? Like similar to like what 11 Labs just launched with their voice agents, which like I also don't think that will work very well in the short term. But like well, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it does, but like at some point someone will launch like drag and drop, someone will launch like specifically for enterprise workflows, someone will launch like for the consumer.
Is it just because like there's not a lot of like automatable stuff in your own life?
No, I think there is. Like, I agree. I
don't think there's that much.
Well, I think there's more money to be made in like what a company can automate.
For sure, 100%.
Yeah. Like I agree that the commercial use case is way bigger, but I just don't think anyone has made one that's that easy to use for consumers.
Yeah, I feel like.
But like this could be it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for listening to us.
Bye.
Let's go.
Maya's really gotta go.